minus 10 minutes. Minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. minus 5 minutes. Minus for minutes. Minus 3 minutes. Minus 2 minutes. Minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Well, like most days, I just couldn't wait to get on the air today. And I know that's the same for our co-host, Scruffy, who you're going to see in moments. It's the RP show, everybody. Welcome. I got big news, I got good news, but I'm saving that for a little later on in the hour. But when Scruffy is here, Murph is with us in hour 2. I said it's going to feel like we're a football show here, which is more than okay with that. NFL training camps opening today. CFL Week 9 college football is never that far from our hearts. The ACC Media Day was yesterday. Oh, my God. It's very exciting time, Scruffy. How you doing, my dog?
I'm doing good. Bless you.
Good.
You're going to go through another year of heartbreak with the Star.
Oh, you're jumping right in. You're jumping right in. Okay, well yesterday I went.
You brought it in.
Hey,
you
listen.
wore the garb, so I got to bring it up.
I know. Well, I went down to Ultimate Fan Zone yesterday, one of our longtime sponsors, and wouldn't you know it, they're not open on Mondays. I didn't know that. I was just going to go in there and see if they had any Las Vegas Raiders
What is this,
here.
Moose Jar? Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, exactly. So I happen to have some. I. That's another life, another time, Mitchell. And I happen to have a lot of Dallas Cowboys gear at home. So, listen, you dove right into the pool. We got a few things and some breaking news. So let's have some fun here. Carlos in Indiana wrote in, by the way, right off the jump. And he said, feels like summer's over with training camps now fully underway. I said, not even a little bit do I feel like summer's over. But let me say this to you, Mitch, with your Seahawks, my Cowboys, I'm kind of gravitating to the Raiders, but what's everybody's outlook for their team this year? Carlos, you're a Colts fan. For all those, whatever, when Eric joins us from Virginia, he's a new viewer. He is, I think, a Carolina Panthers fan. Scruffy, your Seahawks, I won't spoil it. You know that they're among the leaders. That's the thought coming back.
Roddy, there's nowhere to go but down for them.
Ooh.
And how long has it been since a team has repeated as Super Bowl champs? They're in the
Chiefs.
toughest division in football with the Niners and the Rams. They're a playoff team, but I don't know. The loss of Kenneth Walker might be because they don't have, and they drafted a running back in the first round. The loss of Kenneth Walker could hurt that team. Their defense is still solid, but I don't know if they have the horses to repeat. But it's going to be fun.
Repeat. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exciting. It's going to be fun. So here's the thing. I want from everybody, I'm not joking, everybody, whoever your team is. I just found it interesting when a viewer here yesterday, can't remember his name, new viewer, Rick was his name, and he was like, the RP show is very informative. I'm like, we are? Nobody's ever told me that. Nobody's ever said that I feel like we're just a couple of knuckleheads yucking it up here every day, which frankly, we are. But the reason I'm...
do it.
Right. My thing on the Cowboys is, as long as you've known me, I've been a Cowboys fan. It'd be very hard to get me off that. But the problem with that, with our team, the Cowboys, Mitch, is we've had 12-win seasons and missed the playoffs. So to sit here and say, what do I think the outlook is for the Cowboys? I have no idea. They are schizophrenic, narcissistic, Jekyll and Hyde. More than any other team that I can think of in sports. Like, just looking from the outside as another NFC rival, what do you think the Cowboys are going to do? Year 2 under Brian Schottenheimer and Dak again and blah, 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 and Jerry. I don't know. I have no idea. That's my point.
think that they're probably a 500 football team. I think a lot of people are discrediting the New York Giants, and I think they're going to be very good. The Washington Commanders took a step back last year, but Jaden Daniels is healthy, so how good will he be? I think the Eagles are sort of on a downward trend. I think the Cowboys are probably a 500 team. But, that being said, I'm putting money down on Dak Prescott to lead the league in passing yards. Because those receivers he has...
Oh, they're out of this world. Oh,
numbers.
George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, don't. I know that, but we also gave up a franchise record in points last year on D. So, I mean,
Which is why I say you're probably a 500 football team.
Yeah, I was on the air in Amarillo, Texas 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And we went through the whole schedule, and I had him picked at 9 wins. And God, that's not going to get it done.
Where were you on?
Amarillo, Texas, Kenny Nagunst, 806 Sports. Have I not told you about
Were
Kenny?
you on in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah, why?
Amarillo by morning?
I was on Amarillo by morning. Yeah, well, you and
you
I
go.
have got a lot to go over, Scruffy. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, high expectations on Mendoza in Raiders land. Well, sure. But if you listen to Mike Davis, who's on with us every Friday and also coaches a pro football team in Las Vegas, the Vegas Nighthawks, he doesn't think Mendoza's even going to play at all. So, but that's like the number one story in training camp or coming out of training camp as to who's going to be the starter for the Raiders in week 1. I don't even know that it'll be a question, but what do you think?
I don't buy that Fernando Mendoza will not play it down this year. Not for the fact that I don't think Kirk Cousins can last the whole season. But we all know that Fernando Mendoza is the quarterback of the future. And yes, it's going to be good for him to sit on the sidelines and learn. But are you going to tell me in the final third of the season, when we know that the Raiders are not going to make the playoffs, that you're not going to give him a start or two down the stretch to see what he can do when the bullets are flying? Like, I think that would be bad for his development. I think you have to give him at least 2 or 3 starts once the Raiders are out of the mix. Or if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, then you've obviously got no choice. But if Kirk Cousins is healthy going into week 14, why wouldn't you give Fernando, and the Raiders are out of it, why wouldn't you give Fernando Mendoza a chance to show what he's got?
Well, to be honest, when Mike Davis said it on the air on Friday, in my mind, I'm like, you want to make a bet on that? You want to make a Vegas buffet lunch bet on that? Because I think that he will play for the reasons you just said, but I don't really like to argue around here. By the way, a lot of the CFL fans have showed up. We've got breaking news today from the Canadian Football League, and news that broke near the end of yesterday's show that I never had the opportunity to get to with Scruffy. Plus, it is Tuesday. If you're prepared, Mitchell, to make your picks for week 9, which I know that you are, It opens on Thursday. They're calling it a must-win game in Winnipeg for the Blue Bombers. Guess what, guys? It can't be must-win for both teams. And it might be with the BC Lions going in there at 1-5. So we got a lot of CFL talk to get to. And I never did get to, and I want to, your take on John Tortorella saying that he was disappointed he wasn't brought back in by the Golden Knights to coach this year. So we'll be right back on the RP Show.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Scruffy's with me. Got a lot of fun topics on the table. Before we switch gears, here's some answers to from our viewers. I said training camps opening across the NFL today. What are you watching for your team? BW from Edmonton says, I'm excited to see what Jacksonville does. Travis Hunter continues to be a two-way player. Scott in Vancouver says, curious to see what Malik Willis can do with the Dolphins. John says, give me some football. Could this be the most interesting year in the CFL in years? We say that every year, and that's just what we love about the CFL, but you're not wrong. And here's the breaking news, Scruffy, from the CFL today. The legends of yesteryear will receive their due with the posthumous inductions of Jim Evanson and Frank Pop Ivy into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. It was announced this morning. Jim Evanson and Frank Pop Ivy. They joined Brandon Branks, Sean Millington, Charleston Hughes, and Calvin Tiggle. September 17th is the ceremony in Hamilton. Jim Evanson and Frank Pop Ivy. If you don't know about them, go read about it at rodpeterson.com. It spawns the poll question. Do you follow the history of your favorite league? Mitch, how does that question resonate with you, the poll question for EMJ Mark? Do you follow the history of your favorite league?
Roddy, we're old enough to know the history of our favorite leagues because
I
we've
know,
experienced it for so long. I don't know about you, but when I hear certain guys are going into the Hall of Fame, like Brandon Banks and Charleston Hughes, I go, yeah, we're old, man. Because we remember those guys in their heyday and other guys that are in the Hall of Fame now. And same with the NHL and baseball and everything else. So
well,
I think we're too old to legitimately answer that question.
I know, and it's kind of aimed at the young people, but it's, I think, a fun question. And this was the fun news that I wanted to drop. Our podcast downloads have tripled since Fan 960 and Sportsnet 650 went off the air. Those two all-sports radio stations in Calgary and Vancouver, they've tripled. I can't think that it is a
except
coincidence.
for Mondays
That's number
and Tuesdays.
Number two, when I say the history of the leagues, the Hall of Fame is like my favorite debate, and the CFL really got it right with this class, I feel. But like when I started the Panthers podcast and I was bringing on some of the old greats down there, Mitch, I had Panthers fans and Lightning fans saying, we don't care what happened before 1993. And I said, then don't watch. That's like
right?
Your kids saying, yeah, it's like kids saying, I don't care what happened before I was born, which a lot of kids think. You're an idiot if that's what you think. And what got me going on this was I want to get Travis Lulay on the air because I was thinking of the BC Lions. And I put into Chat GPT because we were all there, but I don't really remember the 2011 BC Lions. What was their record? They were both 0-5 and 1-6 and came back and won the Grey Cup that year with Travis Lulay as the quarterback. And I want to get Travis on the air, so I'm talking about the Lions. That was just a wonderful time in history. What?
Where is Travis Lulay now? Because I thought, Roddy, Travis Lulay did a great job with our friend Arash Madani on Sportsnet doing Grey Cup coverage. And then all of a sudden, Travis Lulay just disappeared. Where is he? Is he still in the game? Like, is he back in Montana? I don't know where he is.
It's kind of why I would like to get him on the air. But the last I heard, he was working in the family business in the Pacific Northwest somewhere, which is where he's from. But I don't need to tell you, it's a little difficult to make a living in the media in Canada, number one. Number two, as a CFL pundit on a rival network, you think he's going to work full-time for Sportsnet as a CFL analyst? They bring him in 1 week out of the year.
He only had a 1-week contract with Sportsnet.
Doesn't pay a lot of bills, last I saw.
No.
So, no.
But I always thought he did a good job, and I always wondered if he could translate that over to the other guys.
So here's the point. The point what I'm trying to get at with all of this is, do you follow the history of the league? If young people aren't interested in the 2011 BC Lions story, which is a Netflix, I mean, maybe not a series, but it's an episode, you know what I mean? And I actually saw somebody put on social media the other day that exact question. Where's Travis Lulay now? I'm like, well, I don't really know either. He disappeared. Last I heard, he was working in his family's, I think, insurance business in the Pacific Northwest. But let's get him on the air. Like, you and I were with the Riders, but how could you not love Travis Lulay?
Oh, he was great.
So my point
I loved Travis Lulay. Dealing with Travis Lulay was outstanding. And you know what, Roddy, and you know this as well as I do, working on the Rider Game Day broadcast for as many years as I did, and even working with News Talk as I did, and spending many years covering the Riders, there's a lot of great players in the CFL that don't wear green and white. And we know that, and a lot of fans know that. And we tried to bring that. At least I did. Like, hey, let's get to know some of these guys that aren't guys that wear green and white. And,
but
it's funny.
Yes.
Just to you talk about the 2011 BC Lions. Roddy, would that be into the new playoff format that's coming in the CFL, which is the only change I don't like? But would that be like something that happened 15 years ago? So, like, guys, I don't think we're going to see this happen. Or am I dreaming on that it could happen?
No. You're totally right. I'm trying to support the league and not be like the people that are poo-pooing the league right now. But that is a bad one because it's completely neutered the importance of the regular season. And I think I told you I was sitting
Team 10 and maybe 11. I just can't go with that.
Kevin Gallant brought that up when I was having a steak with him the other night. He goes, if they add more teams, it will be, that won't be a problem. And I'm like, well, where's the plan for that? And the CFL's not at liberty to tell us their plans, but it would be nice if we kind of had an idea where they're going. But anyways, Mitch is explaining, or just did, why he and I, had a lot of success for a lot of years in what we did on Rider Radio, because we wanted to introduce not only the current players, our players, but the opposition players to the fans. And the thing was, our fans loved it. Brent they loved getting to know the other team too. Brent from Saskatoon writes in, says, I like the history of CFL teams, NHL, NFL. Very interesting. He says, Lulay was a great guy and player. Scott in Vancouver says, there's many people who only pay attention to their team and don't know, care, or follow the rest of the league. That's one. And two, as I'm learning, you're right. And I'm also learning that they don't care about the history, like those Panthers fans that say, we don't care what happened before 93. Then don't watch. You're not going to.
I don't disagree with you. And that's sad.
We still ended up.
That really is sad, because if you don't give a hoot about the league and just your team, then you know what? You're letting down your team, because you should know what's going on with the league as well.
I
and
know,
there are too
but
many
you
people
can't.
like that. And it's not just where we call home, Rod. It's around the CFL.
No. It's not a football thing. It's a people thing. But still, for the third time, I'll say it was Panthers
exactly.
fans that say we don't care.
Exactly.
Not all Panthers fans, but anything that happened before 93. And I said, well, you're not going to influence how I do my job here. If you don't want to know when we talk about the stuff from the NHL before 93, it's your loss. John Ohm writes in, he says, history at any level is important, whether it be sports or not. Pay attention to it, folks. Hashtags, your history lesson of the day. Well, again, you're not going to make people pay attention if they don't want to. And I guess that's my point, is the young people, because everybody's salivating and horny over the young people. Do they not care about the 2011 BC Lions? Because they should, is kind of what I'm saying. 15 years ago, Mitch, was a long time ago. I'm sorry to tell everybody. It's a long time ago.
Rod, maybe the only mention they'll get of that, and I don't know what the BC Lions have when it comes to like what the Plaza of Honor is in Saskatchewan. And Roddy, we know
Orange helmet.
When the Plaza of Honor announcements come out, we go, yep, because we know this guy, great pick or whatever. Every now and then they go back to an era when we weren't around, but we certainly know who those guys were. Roddy, I don't know what they do in BC, and I don't know if Travis Lulay is a part of it, but if the Lions were to announce something today and Travis Lulay was a part of it, young fans would probably read about it and go, oh, who is this guy? And that's the only way they'd realize how good he was.
Well, they have the Orange Helmet dinner, and where they have a Wall of Fame, and a lot of our good friends are on it with the BC Lions. So, yeah, they do it. Coach Matt DeBuck is tuned in from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He says, yeah, I agree. History teaches the present and the future. Vancouver Eric writes in and says the young fan today only cares about the point spread. I mean, that may be true. And that's for those that have just joined late. Our poll question today is, do you follow the history of your favorite leagues? And early on in the vote here for EMJ Marketing, it's like 100% of the respondents are saying, yes, they do. My God, I would hope that they do. They're doing construction here, by the way, at the Golden Ticket Sports Center, and it's highly annoying. Take a coffee break, buddy, for 2 hours. Anyways, what do we got here? Oh, a window fell out, so thank God not on me.
That's not good.
You've always threatened to come over here for a visit, and you haven't.
I'm coming.
Everybody
says
they're going
couple
to.
Of weeks.
Oh,
I'm going to
John
barge in the second hour of the show.
That would be fun. John Ohm says the CFL might want to forget about the USA expansion. That's a sore point for the people running the CFL. How do we know how they feel about anything? How do we know? I don't know if they're upset about that. I don't know.
What did he say? Sorry, I missed all of that.
I'm going to read verbatim what he wrote. The CFL might want to forget about the USA expansion. That's a sore point for the people running the CFL.
What USA expansion? The USA expansion that you think is happening? Like, what are you talking about?
That I think's happening or he thinks happening?
No, that people think is happening. Like, there are people out there, like Peter Diakowski, that are just basically playing Chicken Little. They're fear-mongering. Everything I have heard, there is no Americanization coming. The game is still 3 downs, wide field, 12 men on the field. Some of those have to be Canadian. Until I hear otherwise, I don't think that's happening. And when you've got Quebec City, Halifax, and Kelowna that are interested in CFL franchises, guys, I don't think that's happening.
I don't know. I don't like to talk about it. And to be honest, I'll say it here. I said it to you privately. Peter Diakowski, who I know, he was a rider. I really liked him. But for a guy that was in the running to be Canada's smartest man, he's saying a lot of really dumb things. And I don't get it.
Says a lot about Canadians if he's in the running for Canada's smartest man.
Yeah, it's just very toxic and distasteful as far as I'm concerned. All the fight that's going on with what we're talking about here right now. We don't have time here to do the picks. We'll do them right after the break. I have not forgotten yet that I want to ask you your take on John Tortorella's comments on not being brought back in Vegas. There are some NFL things that I want to get to Kirk in Toronto writes in. He says, hey, Rod, the Argos are almost as old as the country. How's that for history? Oh, they got a wonderful brand. What are you getting at? Wayne in BC writes in. He says, I agree with you both on the playoff format. Once they have 10 or more teams, it's more palatable. Problem is, we don't know if that's happening or not. Yeah. And he also says, Wayne says, hey, Rod, it looks like you're still a Cowboys fan, considering what you're wearing. LOL. I'll say it again. I went down to Ultimate Fan Zone yesterday. It's not open on Mondays. Trying to buy some Raiders gear. I'll be honest, you don't know how lucky you are to be able to go into Ultimate Fan Zone and get stuff from pretty much every team, Mitch. It's like Jersey City used to be. In South Florida, you can go buy Dolphin stuff and Panther stuff and Heat stuff and Hurricane, but you could never get another team. You can't even get stuff from Tampa in South Florida. Here
sure
at the
you
Ultimate
could.
Fan
Back
Zone.
when I was visiting Florida in the late 80s, there were a couple of stores that I could find, but that was the late
Mitch,
80s.
That was 40 years ago, bro.
I know.
40.
I have a great story from a guy in Tampa, a shopping mall in Tampa.
Can we maybe get with it? This is the way it was 40. Mitch speaks for all CFL fans. I'll be right back.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Dean, Brody, and the Reckloss teaming up for the Hometown Heroes Tour.
If there's work, you know I'm gonna work.
Live at Temple Garden Center, November 9th.
Can't blame nobody else. I can't help myself.
Two of Canada's biggest country acts. One stage, one unforgettable night on the Hometown Heroes Tour. Tickets on sale now at the Temple Garden Center box office or online at saskpix.ca.
In today's fast-paced world, we know you don't always have time to cook a nutritious meal. The Mad Greek in Moose Jaw's got you covered with delicious takeout and delivery specials, even for large groups or occasions. Authentic Greek cuisine, pizza, ribs, and more. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Offering licensed dining, delivery, and their takeout window is open to get your Greek to go. For more information and to view the online menu, visit themadgreekeatery.com.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Okay, welcome back. Oh, I told you it's going to be so much fun. It's the last segment with Mitch already. I don't know where the time goes. And hang on, Vintage Sasko. We got a great comment coming up from you. John Ohm just clarifying. He says, no, the expansion that happened in the 90s. He's not wrong. The Cohon administration didn't like me talking about it. That was back when I was literally working for the league. They're like, Rod, stop talking about it. But why? That was where it all started to go like this, where I just saw it differently than them. And Scott in Vancouver says, rumblings that Quebec is getting a team and will start play at Laval University. Blah, blah, blah. Talks cheap. Okay, any thoughts before we get to the picks?
I have two things I could say, but we would probably not be able to get to the picks, so I'm going to just keep it quiet, but it'll probably be in your column on Saturday.
Okay. Can you give me the...
One is about Kyle Shanahan. One is about Diego Pavia.
Okay, give them, and then we'll do the picks. Just give me the headlines.
The sketchiness surrounding the Kyle Shanahan accident is very disturbing. And the fact that the Niners asked people to keep this quiet, and reporters are, very sketchy. You think, or Mike Kelly thought that Diego Pavia could come to Winnipeg? Diego Pavia is just a smaller version of Johnny Manziel. And how did that work?
Okay, perfect. Mike Davis still thinks that he's coming here, but Winnipeg. Okay, thank you for that. Well, Mitch, I guess it's been a minute, but not that long since you've been on the front lines of the media wars. The teams tell you what you can report and what you can't. If you don't like it, you get your pass pulled. End of story.
Well,
what don't you get?
It's just amazing. Like, I heard Chris Sims say today that he knew about this the day it happened. Jay Glazer apparently knew about it. Adam Schefter put something out within seconds after the Niners made their release. Like, come on, guys.
I know.
There's something sketchy about that accident, too, because why wouldn't they have said something immediately? It was like the Bobby Petrino situation when he was at Arkansas. There's always something behind this.
And the truth always comes out, too. So Don't worry. It's not our job to report it. We're not on the NFL beat. Okay, the picks are for Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Let's go, Mitchell. BC Lions at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Thursday kicks off week 9. Who do you got?
Very interested to see how Caden Salter, who was the heir apparent to Shedeur Sanders at Colorado, makes out. But it's his first start. And I think that Winnipeg needs to get it back together, as does BC. But I think Winnipeg wins this one. They're favored by 6.5. I don't know if they win it by that much, but I'm taking the Bombers.
I'll take the Bombers. Friday, Montreal at Ottawa.
Montreal.
We all know it. Yeah, that was easy. We don't even need to talk about it. Calgary at Hamilton in a rematch of the 1999 Grey Cup and 1998.
Straightforward starting for Hamilton?
I believe so. Does it matter?
Then I'll take Calgary.
I'm taking Calgary. I don't think it matters who they got. Saskatchewan at Edmonton, 5 p.m. Mountain on Saturday. I'll go first. I'm taking the Elkamos. How about you?
This is where we're really going to find out if Edmonton is capable of wearing their big boy pants and succeeding. From what I hear, the win over the Riders has really generated a lot of interest in Edmonton. They're expecting a very good crowd. It's time for them to show maybe not only themselves, but their fan base that they're for real. I think we could see something very similar to what we saw in Regina last week. but I'm going to take the experience of the Riders in a last-second win.
Homer! You're such a homer,
Go!
Mitchell.
Go!
I don't know where I put my timer, but it's okay. And I said, well, we still got like 5 minutes, so we're good. I got to get your take on the Tortorella thing. 67 years old, saying he's disappointed Vegas didn't bring him back. I have my thoughts, obviously, and I'll give them after the break. What are yours?
He certainly deserved the opportunity to come back. I don't think he helped himself any when he did that media ban that cost them a second-round draft pick, because obviously Kelly wouldn't like that happening, and that was probably a big strike against him. But I have to think that somewhere he knew that Ryan Craig was going to be the new guy. By the time John was let go, there were no other openings because Edmonton couldn't wait. So, do I think John Tortorella might coach again? Yeah, I do. But it's not going to be at the start of the season unless something happens that we don't know about. Now, that could mean Mike Babcock could be out in Edmonton, but that's happened before, but I don't think it's going to happen this time. But I think John will be back, and I think John deserves a chance to come back after what he did last year. Because I don't think a lot of people thought John was going to get that far. But he turned that team around.
I did, but who thought Mike Babcock was ever going to coach again? I did not. And that's why I brought this up when we got 5 minutes left, because I really wanted to get into it here, because here's the thing with Kelly McCrimmon, whom, as we all know, I've known since I was 16. You've known him you've known him over 30 years. Here's the thing with Kelly McCrimmon. He's going to tell you the way that it is right up front.
Yep.
Right? And even Tortorella has said that Kelly had told him the way it was going to be. And Tort's saying he didn't like that. But Kelly doesn't play games. Now, did he play games with the Oilers and Bruce Cassidy? Yes. And in the end, he came out on top with that, too. Like, how does it feel, Mitch, as an Oiler fan, that your owner couldn't wait? He's such a numpty, Daryl Cates, that he couldn't wait a week because he would have been able to talk Cassidy.
Roddy, we can talk at the end of the day about the dysfunction in the Edmonton Oilers camp.
Oh.
But at the end of the day, it starts at the top. And the top is Daryl Cates. Daryl Cates got Edmonton a new building. Daryl Cates kept the Oilers in Edmonton. But Daryl Cates has been a failure as an owner when it comes to the on-ice performance of the hockey team.
That's it? Okay.
That's all
I'm
I
just
got.
sitting here. Well, I'm just
And
sitting
I
here
think
listening to you.
those that know the
Well,
Edmonton
hang on,
Oilers and their history know what I'm talking about.
You just said, right, you just said that's all you got. So I wanted to get to this with you. Maybe we'll have to do it now. But I'm not joking. We had 2 minutes. Our podcast downloads have tripled since those two stations went off the air. And I'll talk about this after the break. But the fact is, here's Mitch dropping truth bombs that, frankly, people can't say in the mainstream media now without getting their knuckles rapped. But you don't care what the Oilers think. I don't care what the Oilers think. And it's like, I'll be on. Kevin Gallant said it. Fans don't want to hear, consumers don't want to hear two fans on the air talking. They want to learn something. They want to be entertained. They don't want to listen to chicken shits. And that's what talk radio in a lot of places, not all, but a lot, has turned into. You got 90 seconds on that, Mitch.
I don't disagree. And obviously you and I were far away from the equation, but we still talk to a lot of people in the various sports that give us information that they don't really want to get out there publicly because it could hurt their image in their said market. And as a result, Roddy, you and I can say that stuff. And then let the people decide. And how many times have you put up a hot take with me and a lot of people are like, yep, couldn't agree more with you, Scruffy, this and that, and other people, Scruffy, you're an idiot. It comes in the Sunday call or in the Saturday column. It comes when you put up the hot takes. Well, you know what? If you want to, whatever you want to subscribe to, but I'm telling you what I think. And if you don't want to
Now,
subscribe to that, that's entirely up to you.
you know how many people are coming back now on your take that Rider Pride is dead, and they're saying begrudgingly, Mitch was right. Mitch was right.
On what, sorry?
Mitch was right. That the Rider Pride is dead. That you took all the flack for.
Oh, well, yeah.
They're all saying you're right. See ya, Mitch. Have a good one. We'll be right back.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Okay, now it's really going to get good. It's been real good, but it's going to get maybe even better. Thank you, Scruffy, for your efforts. See you next week. It's the RP Show live from Golden Ticket Sports Center, where, to quote Bob Cole, everything is happening. They're standing up here, firing nails. They're working out back here. They're hitting baseballs over here. They're doing yoga up there. They're golfing outside. It's a great place, Golden Ticket Sports Center, our summer home. From the audience, Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, the win has rekindled the EE in this town for the first time in a long time. We'll see how that crowd is Saturday for the Riders and the El Camos. Rich also says Scruffy is absolutely right. Kate says meddling in the on-ice affairs have been a huge negative. Vancouver Eric says still no formal statement on 650 Sportsnet from the Canucks. No surprise. Well, let me say this. I heard on the weekend that the Vancouver Canucks are not upset that Sportsnet 650 went off the air. I can't speak for the Flames and Fan 960. I don't know. They were the rights holder in both cases. But I'll say this about the sports talk radio. I'm not joking when I say that our downloads have tripled. They got to go somewhere. They want to get their sports talk somewhere. That's why we sit and talk about all the leagues, both countries, a little bit for everybody. Who doesn't love a buffet, right? But I will say this: the people that they've been putting on the air, not all of them. There's some great guys and gals on the air, but there's some that are really bad too. And I'm old enough to remember when sports talk came in, early 90s, like really exploded. And the programmers said, we want it, because they were saying it to me. And the consultants, like, we want it to sound like just a bunch of guys sitting around in the bar talking sports. We can do that. And then all of a sudden they grabbed a bunch of guys in the bar and put them on the air to talk sport. But no. These people don't have relationships with the coaches and the players. They haven't been around. They haven't logged the miles traveling with teams. They don't know jack squat. And in a lot of ways, that's what ruined it. I'm not going to go any further down that. Let's just say thanks that you're here. Oh, and before I really do the hardcore sport, that it's not hardcore, but Vintage Sasko writes, and he says, hi, Reverend Rodney and Beacon Blair. I freaking love the history. I love when newer CFL fans' reactions hearing about the U.S. expansion era. Scars make the best memories. They do, and that's why you're watching and listening, Vintage Sasko, but not everybody feels that way. The people that run these leagues, especially now, they don't want to remember the bad history. I guess, can we at least remember the good history? That's why the poll question today is, do you follow the history of your favorite leagues? Because if you joined us late, I put into Chat GPT because it was 15 years ago. I'm getting old. Tell me the story of the 2011 BC Lions. Spit it out. They started 0-5, 1-6, and they signed Tad Cortegay, signed Arlen Bruce, took off, and they're in CFL lore as Grey Cup champions in their own stadium. I was there. Travis Lulay was the quarterback. Wally Buono was the coach. Hell of a story. For the next 100 years, the football people always say, remember, though, BC in 2011 started 0-5. It's part of lore. Do the kids care? And we're trying to get Lulay on the air. But anyways, Vintage, when you say Reverend Rodney, here's a story for you that you'll like. Whoa! 2x4 just dropped on the floor. So, yeah, there's that. Anyways, the lady that got me to be an ordained minister so that I could do weddings in Florida, I said to her in the spring, come on, let's go, let's do some weddings. And she's like, well, I'm kind of afraid to get you to do a wedding. You've never done one before. I said, I've been married 3 times. How hard can it be? And she's like, well, okay, well, I do have a marriage with 2 guys in the fall that maybe you could do that. I don't know if I want your first wedding to be with 2 gay men. I have no problem with that. I wholeheartedly endorse it. I could just see it now. Guys, I have no problem with I have no problem with same-sex marriages at all. Why shouldn't you be allowed to be as miserable as the rest of us? What do you think? Maybe she's got a right. Maybe she's on to something. I'm not sure. Okay, so back on point, if there ever was one. Point 1, Louis Urias homered. Miles Straw had a double and a run-scoring single, and the Toronto Blue Jays celebrated Max Scherzer's return to Washington with a 3-2 win over the Nationals Monday night. Scherzer came off the injured list to start on his 42nd birthday. In his first appearance since June 10th, he gave up a run on 4 hits over 2 2/3 innings, throwing 75 pitches. Jays won. Were you watching, Eric, in Virginia? I know that's your team. Technically, we are still in the warm-up. It's brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel Group. I'm trying to get Adam Bighill on the air as well. CFL legend. He'll be on that cruise along with Willie Jefferson and Jake Serezna of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. 7-day cruise, ideal for CFL fans. Departing the port of Fort Lauderdale February 20th, a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel, Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. The NFL notes that I didn't even get into, and I feel like we will next hour, maybe, maybe not. The son of Chiefs assistant coach Eric Bieniemy has been arrested and charged with the shooting of his mother, Mia Bieniemy, the wife of the Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator. I'll get more into it next hour. Veteran defender Jamal Adams agreed to terms with the Minnesota Vikings on the eve of training camp, adding an intriguing player to a defense led by a creative defensive coordinator in Brian Flores. The 30-year-old Adams announced the move Monday night on social media, posting on Twitter, Year 10, complete with a Skol hashtag. Point 4 was to be Lorenzo Molden IV ended his CFL retirement Monday, signing with the BC Lions. The 6'4", 257-pound Molden ended last season with the Calgary Stampeders, who acquired Molden from the Ottawa Redblacks. I wanted to get into that more with Scruffy. We got diverted on other things. Well, I tuned in the Jason Page show on Game Plus yesterday. Guess what they were talking about? The CFL. They're all Americans. I'm like, so I guess we can talk about it. I don't know. Nothing's really making sense. But what I will say, again, maybe I'll spend more time on this in hour 2, but my old broadcast partner, Carm Cartier, used to call this grab bagging. I call it knee-jerk moves. We did it at times with the Riders. BC's grab bagging. Right? Nathan Rourke's hurt. They started Chase Bryce. Now they're starting the other guy. Bringing in Lorenzo Molden, firing a coach. I'll just say it doesn't look good. Point 5. The Montreal Canadiens traded Sean Farrell to Anaheim for fellow forward Sasha Pastyukov in a minor league swap Monday. Both guys spent last season in the Apple, but it's hockey. So everybody's like, oh, everybody's all excited. Not everybody, but the hockey people certainly are. But what I'm more interested in is what we got to with Scruffy. What about John Tortorella saying he was disappointed Vegas didn't bring him back? I think that's a guy just saying the way it is. I've never met John Tortorella. The guys that know him love him, and I guess you got to appreciate somebody's honesty. But what I will say is I guarantee you that Kelly McCrimmon would have never led on John Tortorella at all. What I would do if I was John Tortorella, I would sit back and go, hey, I did it. They brought me in to do a job, and I did it. I hope he doesn't feel like he failed. Some of these idiots out there, pundits, are saying, oh, they didn't win the Stanley Cup. The Tortorella experiment failed. No, it didn't. And if you think that, you're a potato. Yeah, no kick. John, Rod, take cover. Seton Lightning says, Rod, you need a hard hat. Well, I didn't think I did. BW from Edmonton writes in and says, speaking of weddings, my daughter is getting married on Saturday. Doesn't have to change her initials. KG. Good guy she hooked. Enjoy it, BW. Sea Lightning says John doesn't suck up to anyone. No, nor does Kelly. But as Kelly McCrimmon said at the year-end news conference, he brought in John Tortorella to do a job. He did the job. The plan was always to go with Ryan Craig. I don't doubt that for 1 second. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I've been saying Rider Pride is dead for 3 years. You've actually been saying it for 30 years, Jeff. So don't BS a BSer. Scott in Vancouver says, similar to the Jaguars' Travis Hunter, I'm quite sure that Xander Horvath is playing both sides of the ball in BC. That impressive in both regions. The difference being Horvath doing it out of necessity. In Jacksonville with Travis Hunter, the pride of West Palm Beach, doing it because he excels at both. 902-518-3033. Let's keep it rolling into hour 2, everybody. By the way, Murph will be joining us from Houston, Texas. And what you love about Murph is that he can talk NFL, CFL, college, you name it, 4-time Grey Cup champion. Again, the era of fans being on the air, I think, is over. Thank God we put pundits on the air, and they're good, and that's why you're here. So sit back, top up your coffee, and we'll be back with hour 2 in a moment here on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results.
At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Well, we got a fun one for you today. It's the RP Show, episode number 1786. Yeah, we're into season 8, welcoming viewers across Las Vegas and the beautiful state of Nevada on Silver State Sports. Rolling along into hour 2 on WQVZ Radio, Game Plus streaming, and of course the podcast form. I'm excited about this. I learned this morning that our podcast downloads have tripled over the past couple of weeks, and the coincidence is the biggest all sports radio stations in Western Canada went off the air. Thank you, Rogers, and they're coming here, and we appreciate your business. Thank you. There's still a way to get business done. I don't care that it's 2026 or 1906. Thank you for your business. Thanks for being here. John Murphy is our guest today, brought to you by Prairie Panels. Did I mention please support our sponsors because they are the ones that actually keep us on the air? Prairie Panels. Whether you are building a barn, a shop, commercial space, a rink, Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels designed for durability and energy efficiency. Visit prairiepanels.ca, or you can call them 306-985-0050. It's not that crazy to think people are building hockey rinks in their homes. For the U.S. viewers, think about building a basketball court in your home or bowling lanes. People do it. Prairie Panels can do it better for you than anybody. Okay, so John Murphy, 4-time Grey Cup champion. Draft JM is his Twitter handle, done a lot of work in the NFL draft as well. Any football questions, he's your guy, which is the big story. I've actually got a couple. Particularly the U.S. hour, but we kind of let off the Canadian hour with it too. The fact of the matter is it's opening day for NFL training camps. And viewer Carlos in Indiana said, Carlos, please don't find reasons to be upset, unless I read you wrong. He's like, it feels like summer's over, training camp's starting, and doesn't feel like that for me at all. It actually feels like Christmas in a lot of ways. So I was asking the viewers, I'll ask you now on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. From trucks to SUVs, Western Dodge has what you're looking for. Visit their showroom or online at westerndodge.ca. What's the outlook for your team? We've been rolling on that, whatever your team may be. I've enjoyed the back and forth with the viewers, as I always do. The biggest reason I'm wearing Cowboys gear is I went down to Ultimate Fan Zone yesterday to see if they had any Las Vegas Raiders gear. I'm pretty guarantee they do because Billy, the owner, says it's by far their number one selling merchandise of any league. But they were closed. They're closed on Mondays. I just happen to have a closet full of Dallas Cowboys gear. So I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan since 1990. I don't see any reason to change. Well, I see a lot of reasons to change. Actually, no, that's not accurate. But for the time being, I'm still a Cowboys fan. It's going to be hard to move off that. But what's the outlook for my Cowboys? I don't know. I said they are a narcissistic, schizophrenic, Jekyll and Hyde type team that you basically, do you know these people like that? That you don't know what you're going to get on a daily basis dealing with them? That's the Dallas Cowboys. So we could win 12 games and not make the playoffs, which has happened very recently. Most of the pundits have the Cowboys around 9 wins, and that's where I'm at. I was on the air in Amarillo, Texas last week, 806 Sports with Kenny Nagunst. We went through the whole schedule. He asked me to pick wins and losses, and at the end, it added up to 9. We do have a lot of Raiders fans that watch this show, and they said the expectations are sky high. And it's interesting, maybe write this down for Murph when he joins us next, as a guy that's worked in pro football for a very long time, how teams feel about expectations. Because it kind of varies from league to league to league. For instance, as a lifelong hockey guy, the hockey people, they want to go low under the radar. Don't pick us for first. Don't even talk about us at all. No. Whereas the football people are like, damn right, pick us first. Yeah. They're so aggressive. So I'm sure the Raiders are very happy, selling a lot of merchandise, selling a lot of tickets. But they're also in a division with the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Chargers, who are going to be, they're all playoff teams. So expectations may be high, but for how long? BW wrote in and said you're looking forward to see what Travis Hunter does with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's my question today. Oh, Carlos in Indiana, there you are. He says that could be an interesting poll question. When does summer end for you? For me, it's been football training camps and preseason practices. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, my expectations are not sky high for the Raiders. It will be Kirk Cousins' team this year, which is fine. No rushing Mendoza. That's just kind of what's fun about the program is everything on the table, everything up for debate. That's what's made it popular. That's what's kept us on the air. And by the way, one of the viewers wrote in, Scott. He said he's interested to see what the Dolphins do with Malik Willis. But again, I'm still talking to the Florida people every day. The outlook, that's where I live, the outlook for them, absolutely no more than 5 wins, and pretty much any preseason prognosticators have them 4 to 5 wins. It's going to be a long year. Another one in South Florida. By the way, you brought up the poll question. Today is this, and I think it dawned on me for this reason. I was thinking of some great CFL, Canadian Football League lore. And I was saying it again. Maybe we're trendsetters here. Maybe we're leaders in that there's not a lot of people in Canada talking Canadian Football League, and nobody in America was, or at least I didn't think so, till I turned on the Jason Page show on Game Plus TV yesterday. They're talking about the CFL. I'm like, what? Just that you guys are in the States. I think Page is in Vegas, and you're talking about the CFL. That's fine. But anyways, they're talking about the struggles of the BC Lions, who are 1-5. And I got thinking about all-time lore of the Canadian Football League because I first started working in it in 1991, earning a paycheck in the league. And one of the great stories in CFL lore is the 2011 BC Lions, which, interestingly, the Uniglobe Carefree Travel is the official travel partner of the BC Lions and the RP show. They started, I had to look it up. I mean, I was working in the league at the time, but I can't totally remember. I was drinking a lot then, too. Put it in a chat GPT. What was the story of the 2011 BC Lions? And the story is they started 0-5 and then 1-6, and they rallied to win the Grey Cup on the arm of their nimble quarterback, Travis Lulay out of Oregon. And I'm just thinking, I got to get Travis on the air because he's such a great guy. Red-headed lumberjack type guy. Everybody loved him. And I just thought, CFL is trying to attract all these young fans. That's what they say. Do the young people actually even care about the history and the story of the 2011 BC Lions? Because I'll guarantee you, every year it comes up with crap. Every single year it comes up with the crappy teams out of the gate. The coaches are in the room going, guys, the 2011 BC Lions started 0-5. They went on to win the whole damn thing. You can do it too. Do people care? So that's the poll question for EMJ Marketing. And interestingly enough, I put it on our Instagram story. 100% of respondents saying, yes, they follow it. And the reason I'm even asking is I host, own, and operate the number one most watched hockey podcast in the state of Florida, the Cats and Bolts podcast. And when I started it 4 seasons ago, the Panthers fans, some of them, were like, we don't care what happened before 1993 when they came into the league. And I'm like, well, then don't watch, because there was a world before you were born. There was an NHL before your team started, and I just ignored it. But if that's the way some people feel, if that's the way young people feel, then you got the wrong show. Vancouver Eric writes in, he says, the Raiders, like every NFL team, are selling hope. Raiders probably more than most given their history, but I dig you. So point one, NFL training camps opening. Let's say point two is the Canadian Football League stuff. We went through the picks last hour with Scruffy. They'll be posted at rodpeterson.com. Point three, MLB. The Blue Jays are my team, okay? Luis Urias homered. Miles Straw had a double and a run-scoring single. And the Toronto Blue Jays celebrated Max Scherzer's return to Washington with a 3-2 win over the Nationals Monday night. Scherzer came off the injured list to start on his 42nd birthday. In his first appearance since June 10th, he gave up a run on 4 hits over 2 2/3 innings, throwing 75 pitches. And he left to an ovation. I don't know if it was a standing ovation. It was on the road, but it was an ovation in Washington. It was his 100th career start in that ballpark, as Max Scherzer was a National for so many years. Point one, NFL. Point two, CFL. Point three, MLB. Point four, back to the NFL headlines. The son of Chiefs assistant coach Eric Bieniemy has been arrested and charged with the shooting of his mother, Mia Bieniemy, the wife of Kansas City offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. Authorities in Virginia say the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office said deputies responded late Sunday to a shooting in Ashburn, Virginia, where the couple still has a home from Bieniemy's time with the Commanders. They found the 57-year-old Mia Bieniemy with multiple gunshot wounds, and she was transported to a hospital where she was in stable condition Monday. I've been very angry at people. I've never been that angry. I told my mom to shut up once. How do you think that went? Whack! Fast! That fast! And a filling flew across the floor. I wasn't mad at her. I was mad at myself. I was 15. Veteran defender Jamel Adams agreed to terms with the Minnesota. Oh, yes, it's 1:11 Eastern. For those that observe, 11:11 Mountain for the live viewing and listening audience. Picture a happy ending. What it feels like, look around, visualize it, and then live there. Live in that happy ending. Let everybody catch up. It works, trust me. If it doesn't, get your money back. Veteran defender Jamel Adams agreed to terms with the Minnesota Vikings on the eve of training camp, adding an intriguing player to a defense led by creative defensive coordinator Brian Flores. Adams, the 30-year-old, announced the move Monday night on social media. It was later confirmed by ESPN. Thing that caught my eye this morning, just before we went to air, was Ryan Clark's now ripping ESPN for being a dictatorship. Who's surprised by that? I will tell you right now, was by far my least favorite analyst on ESPN, and fired and ripping the network. Way to go, Ryan. And just so you know, my favorite analyst by far, and I told him that at the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, is Dominique Foxworth. I love that guy. I should have seen his. I said, you are by far my favorite analyst on ESPN, and he broke out laughing. I got a photo of him. I could dig it up for you if you want. We did the picks for Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. I can't wait for our NFL picks. That's going to be big fun. Your sports watching headquarters, Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. Daily poll, we've already said what it is for EMJ Marketing. It's, do you follow your favorite league's history? So far, it's 100% yes. By the way, the age range of our viewers on average is 35 to 45. I'm not sure if that qualifies as young people, but I don't think so. Just telling you. Point 5 are the quick 6 show topics. The Montreal Canadiens traded Sean Farrell to the Anaheim Ducks for fellow forward Sasha Pastujov in a minor league swap Monday. Pastujov, 23 years old, produced 21 goals, 36 assists in 71 games with the American Hockey League San Diego Gulls last season. Farrell had 17 goals and 36 apples in 72 games with the AHL's Laval Rocket. Minor league swap. Headline news in Canada. Welcome to July in the Great White North. The bigger news coming out of the NHL was the interview, and I don't know where Tortorella said it. Somebody want to help me? John Tortorella, the former coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, saying he was, quote, disappointed the Golden Knights aren't bringing him back after taking him to the Stanley Cup final last year. As I said last hour, I'll say it now for the benefit of the Nevada audience, because that's your team. I will guarantee you Kelly McCrimmon never led on John Tortorella that there would be a guaranteed job for him next year. Brought him in to do a job. That's what Kelly said at the year-end interview. The plan was always to go with Ryan Craig. And in the end, Kelly will be proven to be right. And at least for John Tortorella, I hope he doesn't go away upset, because what it did was it proved he's still the man. Dawn in Winnipeg wrote in and said, John Tortorella, greatest post-game interview ever. No. I feel that if you're a reporter sitting in the front row and you're afraid to ask the question because your head might get bit off, I don't think that makes you the best post-game interview at all. Probably makes you one of the worst. I tell you, it's never easy. I'm very lucky living in Florida, having Paul Maurice and John Cooper as the guys that we talk to. Oh, I'm grateful for that every day. The two best coaches in the game, and there ain't no doubt about that. Murph joins us next. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
We love the shout-outs. The viewers like the shout-outs. Thank you. Eric from Virginia checking in. We were talking about you earlier, Eric. You might want to rewind. Trevor from Deerfield Beach, Florida checks in from WQAM Miami. He says the Eagles re-signed Jalen Carter to a 4-year, $152 million extension. $106 million guaranteed. Murph joins us, 4-time Grey Cup champion from the great state. Murph, lots going on. Happy opening day of NFL training camps, Murph. Has that got you excited?
Well, the money started rolling, right? So you know that. So I think that's the biggest thing that's a difference, and one of the main differences. But NFL and CFL, you normally don't get guys that are able to manipulate their contracts before the start of training camp. In the CFL, the NFL, it seems like that's exactly the best time to do it. And I know one person that'll be extremely happy, and one team that will be not thrilled with that announcement you just made would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as their franchise D-tackle Vita Vea nowhere close getting a deal done, and by comparison, making $7.75 million this year. And I think you just announced a $40 million kind of range deal for Jalen Carter. So Vea at 30, 31 years old, looking for a new deal, and also Baker Mayfield looking for a new deal from the Buccaneers. So I think you see a lot of deals get done extension-wise right around now when guys are showing up or not sure training camp. But the interesting dynamic in the NFL is a guy like Vita Vea could be fined $50,000 a day for missing practice. But normally you also see a lot of teams allowing what they call a hold-in to occur, where the player shows up, does everything but get on the field, and they get a deal done. If I'm the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield, again, 30, 31 years old. You saw him slow down second half of last season. That one you may have to let ride, but you're probably going to have to find at least some sort of new money to get Vita Vea on the field prior to week 1.
You know, it is such a slippery slope / double-edged sword. And I'm going to ask about your NFL fandom in a second, if you can still be a fan after all your years in the game. But talk about this. It doesn't matter the league, but specifically the NFL. If you're going to trumpet, you've made more money than last year than NHL, NBA, MLB combined, which is cool. That's awesome. You're doing great things. What's going to happen? The players are going to turn around with their hands out. You can't even blame the players, right?
Well, and the other thing is that, they have it built in to kind of have an idea from year to year that it is trending up. Right. So you see it last year, it went up, $20, $30 million. And, the jacket you're wearing, right. The Cowboys then all of a sudden, made decisions that they were able to follow through with and say, hey, we're better. Not just having Micah, Parsons with the other name brand players they had. They tried to stretch their money the best they can. And I think that's still in the NFL. There is some level of competitive imbalance to say, like, hey, the teams that are making money, right? The Patriots, who are now, have 10 million followers, on every social media. They are by far one of the, most followed teams, in pro sports. That means that they have the luxury of having money to use for all these gigantic signing bonus type deals while having a rookie quarterback contract. You look at other teams, notoriously Arizona and Cincinnati, they're run in a very different way, do not have all of that guaranteed money to be throwing around all the time, which is why you see sometimes in free agency, they are not able to be contenders for that, because people don't understand. When you sign an NFL player to these extraordinary contracts, you have to be able to show that you have the viability to pay that contract. So from an NFL team perspective, using that money in the offseason or using money right now to guarantee things in the future, you have to have a really good understanding of the football business, and then the business people, they have to be riding, pretty much together, or somebody's right in the back seat so that you know what's going on with your organization. And when is it time to go all in, and when is it time to, in Buccaneer world here, like we just mentioned, 2 guys that are over 30 at a quarterback and a 350-pound D tackle. Do you want to get locked into 3 to 5 year deals with, look what we just said, $106 million guaranteed for Jalen Carter? You're going to have to probably guarantee at least, to the first 2 years of a Baker Mayfield. And if I'm Vita Vea, I'm not looking for a 1 or 2 year deal, right? This is my last real shot, to take a swing at things. But if you look at the Bucs down the stretch last year, couldn't get off the field defensively, couldn't win one game to make the playoffs. And a lot of that changing this season would be because they have guys like Vita Vea and Baker Mayfield, especially after losing Mike Evans in free agency.
Viewers have a lot of NFL questions for you. I'll just ask you this. I'm considering switching allegiances to the Raiders. We're airing in Nevada, but I've been a Cowboys fan. It's my first team. It's going to be hard to move off them. You being from Long Island, and that was before I was in the media, before I, got into this perilous trade. I love your stories of growing up in Long Island. I would assume you're a Big Apple football fan, but you live in Houston. I shouldn't speak for who you're cheering. Is there a team that you root for?
Well, oddly enough, I never rooted against the Jets because that, training camp was 10, 15 minutes. You could go there and the best part was, at the end of camp, if you stood on line, you could carry the helmets, back to the locker room with the players. That was something as a kid that I did often. But the funny thing is I did grow up, most of my life rooting for the Cowboys, mainly because I would win money from my dad, who is a gigantic Giants fan. And my allowance was really good in the 90s. The allowance money went really good when the Cowboys were facing the Giants on the regular. But, having lived in New Orleans and now here in Houston, I think you start rooting for people the more you're in the business, right? It's no different. You can, still say, for obvious times, in the past 5 years being in Toronto, still rooted for Saskatchewan or Calgary when they're not playing against you because of the people, the people that and the people that that are working for teams. I'd have a soft spot right now for the Elks. Spent an entirety long period of time, with Mark Killam. We would even sit next to each other for every meeting we ever had in Calgary. So, love to see that he's having success there. And I think people in the business, that's what you grow to root for, is maybe no longer teams necessarily, but people.
So I mentioned the viewers. Scott in Vancouver says, are the Cardinals going into the year with Brissett as the starting quarterback? He just signed a $15.9 million one-year deal, right? And go ahead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, he's been a bridge quarterback, right? We see a lot of teams that are looking for that, either while they develop their next guy or while they're kind of in wait and see mode. And I think the Cardinals are one of those teams, right? I think you'll see a lot of Carson Beck, the rookie quarterback they drafted from the University of Miami, who also played at Georgia. He'll probably see a lot of action in the preseason because you want to see, is there a chance that from a talent perspective, here's a guy who at times, had scouts saying he could have, gone in the first 2 rounds of the draft. But later in his career, between injuries and then just some questionable decision-making at times, kind of his grade fell off. But we know you play winning football at Georgia and Miami. There certainly could be a possibility that they could look at him as being an ascending guy whose talent could play off better in the NFL than it did college. But I think you're right. Brissett is who they go to start the season. They've invested a lot in the backfield, right? You have James Conner hopefully coming off of an injury. You drafted Jeremiah Love in the top 10. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who has yet to really hit his full stride in the NFL. And you have a playmaking tight end in Trey McBride. There's enough moving pieces there that the Cardinals on occasion will be a problem for some people. But when you look at that division, right? I mean, there's 3 teams in that division who could win 10 plus games. And the Rams and the Seahawks are probably 2 of the top 5 contenders for the Super Bowl. And when what you have seen the Niners do, while battling through injuries, while battling through drafting Trey Lance and making that bad trade that really has not harmed them as an organization because of Brock Purdy, and then seeing how they were able to play last year at times with a third string tight end, right? A backup quarterback, replacing your main primary defensive players. The Niners, if you get Warner back and Bosa has a healthy season, and some of those younger weapons around Purdy progress and play well, that's another team that could have a 10 or 12 win season. So I think for the Cardinals, it is probably a season of Brissett and also evaluating what Carson Beck and others look like, because there's every reason to believe at least possibly 4 to 6 college quarterbacks will be, taken next year in the first round. We'll just have to see how that college, evaluations play out, because there are a lot of names involved, but it doesn't always play out that way. It may not be the greatest draft in recent memory in 2027, but it certainly is often running.
Too many questions for what we have time for, and I know you want to talk some CFL. I'll do one more NFL. BW in Edmonton says, Murph, how far will Shitter Sanders take the Cleveland Browns?
I'm going to be one that says that is still TBD. And I think it's an organizational thing to say, when you've put the investment, time, money, the draft picks, and everything that the Browns have dealt with in acquiring Deshaun Watson. If Deshaun Watson shows any signs of life that he could possibly resurrect his career, I think you may see Deshaun Watson early in the season. Now, I think what Sanders has done is very well done by him and his people to go quiet in the offseason, put in all the work, be a guy that, genuinely everybody in the building likes and sees making progressions. But I'm not sure week one that Deshaun Watson, if healthy, if he plays well in the preseason, that as an organization, you look at everything you've put into that guy. Do you try to get something out of it in the final year of his contract? But I think there's some moving parts there, and the real problem is that defense is what kept them around in games. And when you trade Myles Garrett, Jared Verse is a very good young football player. He's not Myles Garrett. So I think it's still going to be very hard for them to win games, on a regular basis, regardless of who their quarterback is. But I think you do have to like that battle. It's an underrated quarterback battle to watch because, again, it's the Cleveland Browns. But I think that there are some pieces there, but it's such a young team now with the moves that they've made that imagining a lot of success in a tough division where the other teams know who their quarterbacks are and have more depth, really the Browns are still in rebuild mode.
I'd like to think the quarterback that gives them the best chance to win will start in week one. I don't know if we're in that world anymore. Coach Matt DeBuck writes in from Fort Lauderdale. He says, this guy is great. Yeah, I think we'll keep him, Coach. Murph is his name. To the CFL, Vancouver Eric says, how many reps does a third-string quarterback get in the CFL? I'll answer that. From what I know, none. They're running the scout team. Can you make it quick, your answer on that, Murph?
Yeah, really, unless you're also the package quarterback, you're not getting much at all, and you are 90% of the time running the other team's stuff. And then even when there's an injury, right, you may still not be the guy getting those reps. As you see a lot of times, the backup is the guy just running the package. The third stringer is the third stringer. So I think if you're asking that question to then see what Caden Salter does this week, I think the interesting thing with him is that I would expect a game plan out of them that mirrors a lot of what you saw out of Trey Ford. And also you got to remember, Buck Pierce was around Lulay. You go watch those early Travis Lulay games before he established himself as a franchise quarterback. He was able to really move around the pocket, right? He ran very well for a quarterback and was athletic. So I think Buck Pierce can do some different things with him this week. But for Caden, the last time you saw real reps was, 2 months ago in training camp. You're not seeing many more than 5 to 10 total reps outside of doing your regular job, which is playing the other team's quarterback, right? So I think that's an interesting thing, but it really hurts the CFL in terms of production value and what you can do unless you're going to sell out, not play your guys in the preseason and hope that they, hit the ground running. That third string quarterback's getting about a quarter of action in the first preseason game. They may get the last 5, 8, even 10 minutes of the last preseason game. And that's really the main reps that you've seen all spring and summer until you're forced to use that guy because of injuries.
Yeah, the answer is basically no reps. Okay, 5 minutes-ish from week 8 to week 9. You think you kind of hit on it. BC at Winnipeg is a big game, but so's Edmonton home to Sask Saturday. We get some great games in week 9.
Right. And, and again, for for Saskatchewan, as crazy as it sounds, because you were in first or tied for first all the way until last week. If you lose 2 in a row back to back, you're now 4-3. They're 7-1. Yeah, now the number game, starts playing out to say that now you're rooting for the Elks to lose, down, the middle part of the season. But the Elks schedule then has Calgary a few times. And Calgary at 3-4 could then all of a sudden get a team where they win that game last week. They're on a 2-week Eastern road trip that they're staying out east with a chance to play against Hamilton and Toronto. So that's interesting for them while other teams play Western teams. So Calgary, to me, is a team that if they get their components going, and you saw Damian Alford last week, and Reggie Begelton is on the come, could be there shortly. If they can figure out their defensive pieces, because they're the one team that's defensively, you can't understand with the pieces they have up front and the totality of the roster that they have defensively, why they're giving up so many points on a regular basis and these big plays. They're a team that's, I think, on the come and could start challenging that middle of the pack. I think you mentioned it with Winnipeg. That's a lot of injuries, but at least they're home. And you got a road team with BC with a rookie quarterback and injuries of their own. But Winnipeg needs to win that game for themselves this week. Montreal, Ottawa, right? At some point, somebody's going to get Ottawa's A game. But Montreal just has a really good game plan. And what they're doing themselves, it's very much like Mark Trestman. Mark would practice what he does and not worry about what anybody else does. Because he knew if they just handle their business and don't make mistakes, it's hard to beat Montreal home and away unless Montreal beats themselves. And then I think the bye week came great, right? Chad Kelly gets hit. You get a bye week. It doesn't seem like it's a major issue. And the Ticats now have 3 games against Western teams that could create an opportunity, like I mentioned, after the game the other night online, is that if Hamilton struggles in these 2 out of the next 3 games and say they go 1-2, they're opening up a possible crossover that by Labor Day, are we looking at the loser of the Winnipeg-Calgary, kind of games there, could be a team that's, looking to cross over. Because at 3-4 or 4-3 or 4-2, you're having a chance to catch up on those teams because the quarterback injuries out east have really nullified, how well those teams play. Toronto's the only team in the East that could play winning football with their backup quarterback. If God forbid anything happens in Montreal, they would be a very, different looking team. And if Calgary or Saskatchewan, were to play without their starting quarterback for 3, 4, 5 weeks, they would look very different as well, right? So we don't need to lose any more quarterbacks. We don't want the 25-17 and the 19, 18 games going on. We like this 35, 28, and, the high scoring affairs and the skill players making the plays. But I think, it is something to look at in the middle part of this season. Staying healthy is going to be the next 6 weeks. That's going to be the turn, so to speak, into the fall, is can you stay healthy in the month of August and by Labor Day still be in position to compete or make that late season rally?
An absolutely wonderful report. Follow him on Twitter at DraftJM13. That's correct, right, Murph? At DraftJM13. Enjoy the games, Murph.
Absolutely.
Keep in touch. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate you.
You got it, brother.
The viewers love him. I do too. Murph checking in from the great state, Houston, Texas. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way here on the RP Show.
Ready for a night of rock with the Gene Simmons Band.
You know your man is working hard. He's worth a team.
Saturday, December 5th, Temple Garden Center.
Now.
The Gene Simmons Band performing your favorite classic hits. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca. Don't miss the Gene Simmons Band.
Get ready to make unforgettable memories with your little ones at Elmo's Got the Moves, the all-new Sesame Street live show coming to your neighborhood. Friday, December 4th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at SaskTix.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. RP Show continues on a Tuesday. Glad to have you aboard. We do have some news for you. I'm reading this. You're seeing that, yeah, we're big CFL people here. I know we have a lot of CFL fans in Vegas. You're watching it in prime time on Silver State Sports. Nevada star Cody Fajardo named the #1 top star of the week in the Canadian Football League, along with Calgary Stampeders offensive player Tyreek McAllister. I say that because he scored a touchdown receiving, rushing, and a kick return touchdown all in a half. First player ever to do that in CFL history, and we've been playing for over 100 years, just so you know. Along with, there's listed as a running back. And Montreal running back Travis Thice named the 3rd star of the week. But Cody Fajardo, my guy, death, taxes, and Cody Fajardo winning. That's what you can count on. Cody threw for a career-high 510 passing yards and 4 tuds as his Elcamos beat my former team, the Rough Riders, in Week 8. They're going to meet Saturday at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. So there you go. And when I say we're big CFL people, I'm going to mention this because there is breaking news on this Tuesday morning. The Canadian Football League had already announced part of their Hall of Fame induction class for 2026. It includes names that people of my age would. These guys were all playing in the league when I was calling the games. Brandon Banks, Sean Millington, Charleston Hughes, and Calvin Tiggle, some of whom have been on this program recently. The induction ceremony goes in Hamilton September 17th. Today, they named 2 old-timers from the black and white era, Jim Evanson and Frank Pop Ivy. So the Hall of Fame class is complete. To read all about it or more, go to rodpeterson.com. You're welcome. The rest of the sport. Oh, man, I meant to ask all my guys about this today. I'll have to do it tomorrow. The momentum for collective bargaining within college athletics took another significant leap this week. A group of Stanford football players are establishing the first ever chapter of the College Football Players Association in a move intended to create a foundation for eventual unionization and collective bargaining. Why did I just give you that look? Because people are going to have a lot of thoughts on this. And Murph and Scruffy would have been two great guys to talk to about this. What lies ahead is a long, arduous road of rallying players at more ACC schools and beyond to create chapters, eventually sign union cards, and then, as a group, present to conference leadership. I'm not anti-union. I used to think that I was, but after working in broadcasting for so long, and producer Corey gets it. I mean, I'm sure you worked in a union and outside a union. They're good and bad. What I will say about this is you're several years late, fellas. You're finally getting paid. So what's the problem now? So, yeah, it's the debate. It's going to take longer than we have time for here, but I good luck to you. I've always said, just so you know, that college sports and major junior hockey, or just junior hockey overall in Canada, are very, very, very similar in that the players are of the same age bracket. And for years they weren't paid, or at least not a lot in both places, but now college has gone, it's not even comparable anymore. But for years they were trying to bring a players association into junior hockey in Canada, and it never, ever worked. WNBA returns from the All-Star break tonight with a 5-game slate. The national spotlight will be on Caitlin Clark and the East Leading Fever as they go for their 4th straight win in Seattle. And here's one for you in the streaming, because I know y'all seem to love talking about that. It only took 6 years, but NBC Universal's Peacock streaming service finally turned a quarterly profit. It's a monumental occasion for a platform with a rich array of sports rights, and it was on the shoulders of the NBA playoffs and World Cup editions that Peacock finally clawed into the black ink. So I feel like I'm not done talking about that. We can carry that over into the next segment. They keep saying streaming's where it's at. What's it going to take? Yeah, we'll talk about that after the break. I'm wearing Cowboys gear today, just so you know, because I went down to the Ultimate Fan Zone, who presents our sports updates yesterday, but they were closed on a Monday. I get it. Owner Billy needs a day off. But Raiders, Riders, Blue Jays, NFL, NHL, you name it, they've got it. Rep your team loud and proud with Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store. Shop now at ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment coming up. Your last chance to get your questions at me. We'll be right back on the RP Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote your effort, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is overtime for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. If you don't know by now, it is the summer. This is when the players are working on their shooting, the ones that are going to be getting ahead. I'm talking about the kids, but also the juniors and some of the pros, too. You know, Connor Bedard shot 1,000 pucks a day growing up. Ask his neighbors, because it was in the backyard in North Vancouver, British Columbia. Anyways, you don't got to piss off your neighbors. Go to Overtime Hockey Lanes. $20 an hour or $99 a month gives you unlimited lane time. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Golf has driving ranges. Baseball has batting cages. Why wouldn't hockey have shooting lanes? Well, they do at Overtime Hockey Lanes. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Give them a follow on their social media channels at Overtime HL and see what interesting things they got going on there this summer. Eric in Virginia writes in, he says, Rod, is there a Chad Kelly update? Not from me. 902-518-3033. That is the text line for our friends at Western Dodge. Are you ready for a new ride? Head to Western Dodge, where the deals are real and the service is legendary. That's where we were last Friday with the old 96er joining us. One thing I love about these old football Hall of Famers, it's like every time we talk, something new comes up that I hadn't heard. I've spent hours upon hours upon hours, too many hours, with Scott Schultz, frankly. He used to be the co-host of my old radio show, but also a defensive tackle with the Pittsburgh Steelers, San Diego Chargers. I didn't know that he almost got killed in the shower of the Steelers locker room by Cordell Stewart, or at least he thought he was going to be killed. That story came out on Friday at Western Dodge. How about that? You're welcome. Free of charge, which, by the way, that's the other thing. So 1,786 shows of the RP show. We're at a point now where nobody even asks anymore how you got started, but we got started June 3rd, 2019 on Facebook only. By the Moose. We've never been a pay show. Don't plan to ever be a pay show. And that's kind of what has me a little annoyed about the streaming. Don't get me going too far down that road, because we are streaming in some places. But for the leagues that are wanting to charge, I think it's a very, very, very dangerous road for them. If you're not the big four, for instance, just this morning in Canada, Rogers, I don't even know what to call it. There is no monopoly in America. It's one of the reasons I love America, and there are many, but there's monopolies like what Rogers has for NHL coverage in Canada aren't allowed. It's not allowed in America. In Canada, they own NHL coverage, and now they're just goosing the prices and screwing over the fans, and I don't know when it stops. Just today, they announced exclusive Wednesday night broadcast with Amazon Prime, and it said in the news release, somebody sent it to me, oh, and one selected first-round Stanley Cup playoff series. That's the whole, I don't think people understand what's coming until it gets there. So for you to watch, maybe your favorite team's going to be playing in it. You're going to have to go and shell out even more money to watch your favorite team play in the Stanley Cup playoffs thanks to Rogers. I just don't get where it ends. Why can't you not just throw it on YouTube for free and get off your ass and go sell some advertising? How about that? That's the way it used to be. It's kind of where it's going, and I don't like it. Similarly to, I mean, I get it. You know, people were writing in here. Producer Corey says, screw Rogers. Right? I can't disagree. Arlen Bruce writes in and says, great show as always, RP. Well, if you don't have anything going on today, there are over 15 MLB games on. Take me out to the ball game. You know the rest, RP. I recall when you first launched. Epic. Thank you, AB. Yeah, you've been with us pretty much since day one. I appreciate you for that. NFL, CFL alum. I've got 2 meetings later today. God bless you, your pea-picking hearts. You're the former company. Producer Corey knows who they are. They used to do the production for us. They didn't own us. But, hey, Kevin the Medium's just showed up. He says, I hate missing the live show. You'll love this one. I was wrapping up the show. This is a good one. And one of the staff said, so what are you doing now? And I said, I'm leaving. And he goes, aren't you going to hang around? I said, why? He goes, we only did a 2-hour show. I said, Connor McDavid doesn't hang around the dressing room all afternoon. Like, we just performed. We're done. I mean, so, yeah, we're on the air 2 out of 24 hours. I got 2 meetings later on this afternoon. One's with a cowboy and one's with a lifelong, long-time friend. Kevin the Medium, I called you earlier. Where the hell were you? You didn't answer. Tomorrow, I got to, because there is some prep that goes. I would love, do you think Connor McDavid just goes out and skates for 2.5 hours and goes home? He's doing things. He's getting ready. He's prepping. That's what I do. So, anyways, I'll be doing a little extra prep tomorrow because in hour 1, it's just me solo, the Larry King of Sports Talk. Hello, Kevin in Maple Creek, Texas. Hello. You're on the air. I saw a clip of Larry King the other day interviewing Kermit the Frog. Maybe, it was with Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan and Kermit the Frog and Larry King. There's a joke in there somewhere. Larry King, Hulk Hogan, and Kermit the Frog walk into a bar. Tell me, you want to finish that for me? And we don't have the Silver State Sports guest lined up. I'm working on a few things. Trust me, it'll be great. Just like Murph was today and the Moose was on Monday. I'm working on a few things. So in the meantime and in between time, follow our social media channels. Vote on our polls. You can at Instagram at The Rod Pedersen Show. And follow our Facebook page because there's always a fun, lively discussion going on there. And as always, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow on the RP Show.
That